Some of them have joined already. Anil, Pavan, Piyush, Priyanshu, Shantanu, Shashwat Jain, Shivya. Okay, nice, good. Good evening, Piyush. Good evening, Priyanshu. ठीक है. Others will join slowly, gradually. And those of you who are on YouTube, you also are welcome. The first initial classes I do keep live on the YouTube. It serves the purpose of getting some of you into momentum who are still not very sure about the results and preparation. I say you should get back into your process of preparation and not wait for the results to be out. Okay, so welcome all of you. Am I audible on the YouTube? Am I audible on the Zoom dashboard? Can you all confirm, please? Yeah, all good? ठीक. Okay. Yeah. ठीक है. Hi Devangana, Shashwat, good evening. पहले बताओ आप लोगों में से who all have given the test? That's the first question. As a teacher, I think I'm entitled to ask. How many of you gave your test? How many of you completed that test? That's also equally important. How many of you plan to give later on? Completed Anil, Devangana, yes. Completed Kartikeya, completed. You wrote 3 questions left, Shivya. Okay. You gave and you have completed. That's nice. But took almost 3 hours. ठीक है, Shantanu. These are challenges you have to deal with eventually. 2 tests, 2 questions are left. ठीक है. So I think some of you, of course, हर साल होते हैं. कुछ बच्चे are committed, sincere. Others are not so sure. They wait for some time before they get into momentum. Evaluation, I mean, it takes about 1 week to 10 days. It depends on कितने scripts आए हैं. But our commitment is we give it to you in at least 1 week, 10 days लेके चलते हैं हम लोग. Right? Yes, Mehak. Good evening. Good evening. Okay, so what we have done is, for the benefit of all of you here, what we have done is, we have recorded quite a few of question discussions. Because, पहले क्या होता था, I would take the test on one day and I would discuss the questions on next day. But now I think the time is very less. I want to finish off quite a bit of questions. So I'm not doing the discussions next day. I am doing discussions today itself. और आज भी आपका काफी कुछ काम है. At 7 o'clock, you must start off with your GS preparations also. So I'm keeping our discussion short and discussions only on the questions I know which will trouble you. You'll get the model answers for all the questions. Please do have a look. And all of you, please feel free to use UKey. अगर आपको कोई questions पसंद नहीं आ रहा है, okay, आपको कोई questions लग रहा है कि no, we must get a better answer, you must prompt the AI to give you better answers. Okay, so you don't have to depend on the answers we give you. You can generate your own answers also. Okay, generally क्या करते हैं हम लोग जो questions answers देते हैं, we try to moderate the quality of the answers. Okay, I have done this myself because a very high level answer, not all of you can cope with it. A very high level answers can scare some of you. So we dumb down the content a bit. लेकिन अगर आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि no, this is not the best possible answer, then please use UKey. I hope all of you know UKey, right? Use UKey. आप question type करो and ask UKey what can be a better question answer. give me a regional perspective, give me something around, okay, say geographical thought आप पूछ सकते हो, and you will throw up the answers. You don't have to bother too much about it. ठीक है, so all of you feel free to generate your own answers, to generate your own discussions. ठीक है, चलो, let's get on. Okay, hi Piyush, hi Prachi. So I hope you can see my screen, all of you. And this is the question paper. That's the question paper. Okay, so let me take you. So geo landforms, this is a very straight question. Okay. Geo landforms, I hope you know. Along the coast, ऐसे होता है. Okay, there are certain caves. The waves are coming in, and the waves, because of internal pathway, they can open up a opening here. Okay, along the coast, this is the ocean water. ये ocean water है. यहाँ पर कोई cave है. There's some cave here. Where is my charger? Wait a minute. Yeah, that's my charger. Yeah. So this, the wave impact on this side here, the waves coming in here, inside the rock, they can make a passage, and the water can go in and come out here. Ultimately, this part of the water cave will completely get eroded. The whole thing will get collapsed. ये पूरा collapse हो जाएगा eventually. Okay, and this will become something like a narrow passage, okay, like a valley बन जाएगा ये. ऐसे, it becomes a valley. Okay, so a geo is a landform. Geo is a very basic landform. Look up to Samindra Singh, and look up even Goching Leong if some of you are following. Otherwise, model answers to him. It's a erosional feature along the coast. It's a marine feature. Okay, so that's basically हम चाह रहे हैं that you must spend time on some landforms. This year, marine landform, I think, is going to be important. Arid landform is important, and karst is important. Please go through these three landforms, and the basic ones, not the very typical ones, उठाकर आप ये करो अपने आप. Okay, structural features and geomorphic influence of Aravalli Range. It's a current affair based question, along with lot of physiography. So 4-5 facts about Aravalli Range. They are fold mountains, 2.5 billion years old. They're part of the ancient Aravalli protocontinent. They have folds. They are synclinoriums. They also have a fault. They are higher towards the south, lower towards the north. They are eroded or residual mountains. They were uplifted through more than one upliftment process. They are kind of polygeosynclines. Okay, the Aravallis, what type of rocks? Limestone hai, marble hai, sandstone hai, quartzite hai. Southern part also has exposed batholiths and cratons. Okay, so it's a straight question. Do look up the model answers. बनना नहीं चाहिए कोई problem यहाँ पर. Okay. Then, how does mangrove vegetation influence coastal soil stability and sedimentation? So, mangrove vegetation का coastal stability से क्या relationship है, and soil stability, and also sedimentation. So, link it how it's a buffer zone. It protects the coasts. from cyclones, from tsunamis, from coastal erosion, the role of the roots tied down, the role of shallow waters that break the force of the waves. That is why the soils are more stabilized, the soils are less eroded, because you have got a good width. Even the sedimentation by the rivers is done pretty actively. The mangrove regions can develop good amount of deltaic formations if there are nice large rivers. The mangrove vegetation के जो soils होते हैं, they also are one type of soil called as histosols, high on organic content. They slightly are acidic also. Okay, so ये कुछ features हैं. How do they influence? So fundamentally, they are kind of a break of force. Fundamentally, they help in breaking the force, and therefore they provide soil stability. इसके साथ में some technical concepts are there, part of the model answer. You again look it up. And do end the answer talking about how mangrove plantations are important part of coastal stability. And give one case study. पिचावरम रीजन का हो जाए, सुंदरबंस रीजन्स का हो जाए, या मालाबार रीजन का हो जाए. Pick up any one important case study. Or Gujarat has seen lot of plantations of mangroves, and tell us how they have protected the coasts. And areas which do not have mangroves, how they are also getting eroded very fast. Okay, so that's also fine. Now, next question: a role of watershed and water divide in determining the drainage characteristics of India. Role of watershed and water divide. So now this question, so when we say drainage characteristics, so what do we mean in this? We're talking about fast or slow rivers. We're talking about what is the genetic type. Are they consequent? Are they subsequent? Are they antecedent drainage? We can talk about drainage patterns. Are they dendritic? Are they rectangular? Are they radial? Okay. Are they trellis? Okay. When I am saying drainage characteristics, are they say things like the drainage properties includes, you can bring in something from channel morphology in terms of depth, in terms of width, in terms of what type of system they are. Are they alluvial channels? Are they bedrock channels? याद आ रहा है? When I'm saying drainage characteristics, what does it mean? Are they fast moving rivers or are they slow moving rivers? Are the rivers consequent or subsequent or antecedent? In terms of patterns and shapes, are they dendritic? Are they rectangular? Are they radial? Are they trellis? And I brought in something from channel morphology. Okay, the depth, the width, are they alluvial channels or are they bedrock channels? Okay, so if I map, my question was what? Question was to tell us the role of watershed and water divide. Okay, in determining the drainage characteristics. How does the watershed and how does the water divide determine the drainage characteristics? So if the water divide is high, the rivers are fast. If they are low, the rivers are slow. If the water divides have abrupt elevations, again the speed is fast. If the water divide has gentle elevations, it is slow. If the water divide is generally hard rock and have uplifted fast, they are consequent drainage. If the water divide has soft sedimentary rocks and the rivers can cut, then we have antecedent. If the water divide has faults, it has rifts, it is subsequent. Answer ban raha, all of you? Are you all able to appreciate this part, all of you? How does the water divide determine whether the rivers are consequent, the rivers are subsequent, or the rivers are antecedent? If the water divide is a very old rock, it is a hard resistant rock, it has uplifted later on, okay, the rivers will be consequent. River will flow along the slope of the mountain. If the mountains are soft rocks, if the mountains can be eroded easily and the rivers can cut across, okay, they are subsequent, they're antecedent drainage. If the water divide has faults, it has rift valleys, okay, it will have subsequent. Okay, dendritic if the water divide has rocks of uniform thickness, rocks of uniform hardness. Rectangular when the water divide has granitic rocks. Okay. Radial when it is a local domal upliftment. Trellis when the water divide is steep and like a ridge. And हर केस में examples दो आप. Trellis drainage, steep and ridge type is the western slopes of Western Ghats. Radial is Amarkantak. Rectangular is much of the peninsular plateau, which has hard granitic rocks. The granites develop right angles में. Dendritic, much of the plains, much of the Himalayas is dendritic. If the water divide has softer rocks, the depth is more, okay, when the rivers are cutting through steeps. If the softer rocks, but the slope is gentle, the river will cut more width of the channel. Can you all respond? अगर ये समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? This is what you had to do. So you had to have an answer and say that drainage characteristics, okay, depends on the nature of the water divide and watershed. And number one, okay, the nature of watershed, nature of the drainage when the watershed is steep or low. Nature of the drainage if the rocks are hard or soft. Nature of drainage, okay, if isolated ridge hai, steep mountains hai, ya ridge hai. You just have to go on doing that. That's all. One line, okay, two examples ke saath mein you are done. The characteristics of the watershed and what type of drainage. Okay, you need examples from each of this. Examples for each of this. Okay, so I believe you can handle this. What is pediplenation? That's a straight question, nothing for me to answer. And pediplenation of the desert landscapes. तो पूरा आपका समुद्र सिंह में है arid landscape का evolution. There is a desert, a sudden upliftment. There is a mountain in the desert, and from the mountain, a youth mature में, there is a playa lake, there is a pahada. Okay. If you write examples with every point, Anil, case study is a bit more detailed one. Okay, it's a bit more detailed one. You don't have to have case study for every examples. पूरे answer में one case study will suffice. Yes, absolutely. ये जो answer है in this question of this one, you can go regional way. Okay, the Himalayas, the northern plains, the peninsular plateau, the western Ghats, and central hills. Absolutely, you must go regional. ये मैंने बताया आपको tool already. That when you write answers in geography optional or a geography perspective में, please do go regional approach में. Okay, so ये तो बताया मैंने आपको. When I'm saying a steep rock or gentle rock, or is a rock with watershed with soft rocks or hard rocks, you go regional way. Absolutely. Okay, और case study पूरे answer में एक ही रखना. Maximum in some cases too. You can take up the case study of Himalayas and say antecedent भी है, steep भी है, dendritic भी है, and canyons भी है. So you can give a heading. The case study के heading दे सकते हो आप, that the drainage characteristics of Himalayan mountains shaped by the nature of the watershed. You can make a case study and say, you can say it is steep mountain, it is soft rocks. Okay, it also has a ridge-like. It also have a uniform say hardness. तो steep है, तो fast moving soft है, तो antecedent हो गया. ridge-like है ईस्ट हिमालयस में, ये trellis हो गया. यूनिफॉर्म हार्डनेस की वजह से ये डेंड्राइटिक हो गया. Okay, something of that kind. This becomes a case study of how the Himalayan region has shaped the characteristics of the drainage patterns. Okay, so I was discussing the next question. Okay, the next question was, sorry, yeah, pediplanation. ये जो answer है, we have given you a recording on this. Okay, so this is around the arid landscapes. Arid landscapes where we have a desert. There's sudden upliftment of the desert, then there's a mountain desert. From the mountain desert, the river starts moving in. There's the intermontane basin. There is a playa formation. There is a bahada formation. Okay, ultimately, the desert mountains will reduce in height, and there is pediplanation. Okay, so this was given by Davis and modified also by others. ये पूरा सविंद्र सिंह से है. The arid landscape का youth, mature, and senile. I think some of you have been my students. I have also given you the page numbers of Savindra Singh. ठीक है? Okay. Now, this question here. The increasing landslides in mountain regions has highlighted the limitation of traditional slope analysis. The increasing incidence of landslides in mountain regions has highlighted the limitations of traditional slope analysis. Okay, so we have traditional slope analysis. I'm talking about Davis model. We have Peng's model. We have L.C. King's model. Davis model is function of time in terms of stage. Okay, it talks about the final surface as a penny plane. Peng talks about a role of endogenic. Peng talks about role of climate. L.C. King is a hybrid model. It's applicable for savanna landscapes, and it is a mix of cycle plus endogenic also. Okay. Now, if you look at landslides, landslides are because of rains. Landslides are because of deforestation. Landslide because of human construction. Landslide is also a function of local lithology. Landslides also depend on activities such as mining, modifications. Landslides also because of tectonic activities. यहाँ पर rains add करो cloud bursts. Now, if you compare with the traditional models of Davis, Spink, Elsie King, none of them talk about rains and cloud bursts. वो climate की बात करते हैं largely in terms of temperatures, hot areas, cold areas, dry regions, ठीक है, but rainfall and cloud bursts nobody talks about. Okay. The traditional analysis, they don't have discussions on deforestation. Unlike deforestation and forest role partly is there in equilibrium theories. But the traditional models do not include that. Human construction and human modification, the roads banana, dams banana, human construction where we are modifying the soil, retaining walls, इसका भी discussions है नहीं. Most of the traditional models, they assume uniform rocks. They assume uniform lithology. Okay. Whereas actual landslides are a function of lithology. They depend on porosity, they depend on permeability, they depend on erodibility. तो traditional models हैं, इसके बारे में बात ही नहीं करती. The traditional models do not talk about tectonic activities like earthquakes. Okay, we do have some discussions of endogenic in case of Pink's model. He only talks about upliftment and the rates of upliftment can change. But nothing about earthquakes, nothing about violent shaking which can impact the shear strength of a region, and nothing about how the soil can get mobile because of solifluction, loss of rigidity. इसके बारे में बात ही नहीं है. Okay, so you had to have, you divide the answer into maybe three parts. में part one will be, जो traditional models हैं, what do they focus on? They focus on how the slopes form and how the slopes modify. Okay, the traditional models, they are oversimplistic. The traditional models, they don't account for all types of forces. Second part will be, what are the reasons for earthquakes recent times में? कुछ examples देख के बात करो. And then you come towards why the earthquakes and, what are the reasons for earthquakes? Landslides. Just give me a minute. I just must attend. Just give me a second, please. I'll be back. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I said earthquakes, it's landslides. Okay. What are the reasons for landslides, and why landslides cannot be explained by the traditional slope analysis? अब हो जाएगा आंसर all of you? अब आंसर हो जाएगा all of you? So ये 3 parts हैं. What are the traditional models? What they focus on? The second part is what are the reasons for landslides? And finally, why landslides cannot be explained by the traditional models. आपको listing बता दिया था. Because they don't talk about cloudburst, deforestation, human constructions, the local lithology, a role of mining, and the local tectonic activities. Okay. Now, this question here, the Indian monsoon is a result of interaction of regional and global atmospheric systems. Okay, discuss this. The Indian monsoons are a result of interaction of regional and global atmospheric systems. तो इसमें पहले बताओ, what are the regional atmospheric systems? So हमारा जो monsoons हैं, monsoons, I'm saying they're the consequence of regional atmospheric systems and the consequence of global atmospheric systems. Give me a list of 3, 4. Yeah, you can add that, Shantanu. Okay, those are enrichment content. इतना base में हो जाएगा. Yes, regionals are the ITCZ. Regional is Tibetan. Absolutely. Very nice. Excellent, Prachi. The regional is also orography. But एक problem है, is saying regional atmospheric systems. So orography को link करना पड़ेगा with the wind system. Okay, you are right, not wrong there, but don't just say orography and stop. Link the orography with, okay, and ITCZ is how they are moving. Perfectly fine. Regional is also STWJ. Okay, acha, theek hai. And what about the global atmospheric systems? I believe you know ENSO. You can talk about MJO, and you can talk about IOD. Okay. Plus, you can also add, okay, what is happening as a part of global warming. What is global warming doing to overall atmospheric systems? Okay. Yeah, jet streams आप दोनों में डाल सकते हो. जैसे कि when talking about western disturbances, western disturbance local regional भी है, plus वो global भी है. Okay, the western disturbances are global because the western disturbances are carrying temperate cyclones, and local because the Himalayas block them. Okay, so you can use both in the part of your answer. The trick is that you should be able to list down the following are the global, and हम चाहेंगे कि put a case study. Put a case study. You can talk about 2025 or 2026 का monsoon disruption. 26 is disrupted by El Nino, and 25 had the effect of IOD. Again, a good case study of how regional. And end the answer, end karo answer, because of regional plus global, monsoons become very complicated. Okay, that's why it's more complex in the variations. Therefore, we need advanced. Okay, therefore we need advanced a forecasting system. Talk about Bharat forecast. Dynamic models. The conclusion में I said, because it is regional and global. Yes, Anil. Excellent. You can pick those years up. Okay. Pick up any one of them. All the four तो लिख नहीं पाओगे. हर साल कुछ ना कुछ होता ही है. Because 1 or 2 case studies are enough. Okay. Make sense, all of you? Hi, Prashant, Shri. So end karo that this global and regional things make it more complex, therefore it's more variable, and therefore we need more smart forecasting systems. Question number 6, I will leave it to you. It's a integrated landscape approach rather than isolated. Essentially, आपको debate ये करना है. The forest conservation is best when you do it in terms of biosphere reserves. It is best when it is done in the old growth forest. It's best when the forests are not fragmented. Okay. Forest conservation requires an integrated landscape approach rather than isolated protection measures. Okay, so forest conservation mein, when you say integrated, what does that mean? It basically means the biosphere approach, biosphere reserve approach, which is about all species. It's about the natural species. It is about the ecosystem approach. Integrated means focus on old growth forests and not afforestation alone. This means, okay, also taking care of local tribes, okay, the local livelihood dependence. Otherwise, the local populations are responsible for, again, illegal logging and forest deforestation. Integrated का मतलब होता है, it should be large area and not fragmented. And this also means that you need to have birds and animals also. Are you aware of how, so you can pick up a case study. The role of birds in species conservation. जैसे कि hornbills. Hornbills are the farmers of the forest. ये term सुना है आपने? Hornbills are the farmers of the forest. Okay. वैसे ही elephants, they protect the nature of ecosystems because they trample on the grasses and acacia, they don't allow it to grow very fast. Okay, so ये dependence है. Okay, integrate का मतलब होता है birds and animals together. And take up any one case study. Pick up one species that helps the trees also. Pick up one species which helps the plant lives also. The best example is hornbill. Hornbill को हम बोलते हैं farmers of the forest. They eat those nuts, and the nuts ultimately, okay, help the trees to regenerate. Yes, Prashant Shri. This is UPSC. Answer writing for geography optional. ठीक है? Now, this I think is a very nice question. Examine the significance of micro-zonation studies in earthquake hazard management in urban areas. Anybody got the sense of this question? किसी को ये question का समझ आया कि नहीं आया? Examine the significance of micro-zonation studies in earthquake hazard management. What does this mean? Anybody? What does this mean? So if you Shashwat, not exactly. See, you're forgetting there's one more question. Earthquake के बारे में. So water कहाँ से आ गया? So obviously. Yes, Anil, that's right. Inside the uniform zonation, you must find out which are more vulnerable. Local, but why? Question is, Piyush, why? So what happens is, earthquake vulnerability का जो mapping होता है, the mapping is done at a regional scale. Okay. Anil, wait. You have gone a bit too far. Earthquake vulnerability is done regional scale. Okay. When I say regional scale, I basically mean, yeah, just a minute. When I say regional scale, I basically mean entire northern plains, entire Himalayas, entire plateau region, entire Ghats region. Okay. But so any city, a city comes within a region. Just say if you look at Delhi, Delhi comes under zone 4 and 5 का भी है. Mumbai is very near, again, zone 4 and not very far away also from zone 5. Mumbai का part zone 5 में भी आता है because of the coastal areas here. Okay. But what I'm saying is that ठीक है, Delhi आता है zone 4 or 5 में, and this is because of its proximity with Himalayas, is because of its soil. Okay. But then within Delhi, we again have local earthquake vulnerability. Can you give me a list of how within Delhi there will be a local earthquake vulnerability? Anybody can tell me? Which parts within Delhi? Yes. So it depends on local population density. It also depends on local soil type. It also depends on, okay, yes, a river erosion that makes it more vulnerable. It also depends on, yeah, please, 1 minute, I'm just distracted. Give me 1 minute, please. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a bit distracted again. Working from home has these problems. Yeah, just a minute. Okay. So, so how is Delhi's earthquake vulnerability also a factor of local things, like local population? Say Karol Bagh, heavy density, local soil type along Yamuna plains, wherever we have river erosion because of sand mining, again along Yamuna plains. Or batao kya local variation? Yes, absolutely, yes, correct. Wherever there is excessive ground water extraction, and that area can also have more earthquakes. What else? What about construction activities, like say tunneling activities, jahan par bhi hua hai? Those areas are also local. What about vulnerability as a consequence of factors like low level of construction, for example? Okay, if you look at construction quality, even that can impact. Yeah, so construction quality. Okay, और बताओ local factor क्या हो सकता है? What are the other local factors? Can you tell me? Explosion, Vizag. Okay, nahi, I have taken a case study of Delhi. Okay, so you can take of anything, but very importantly, the local factors, not generic, but local factors, earthquake. So one very important vulnerability is also the socio-economic condition. Yeah, there is an income dimension. There is a spatial dimension because of, okay, because of a social urban structure. So those areas where we have slum populations, where we have unauthorized colonies, wherever we have problems of unplanned constructions, there's a spatial dimension. यही spatial dimension के बारे में डेविड हार्वी बता रहे थे, right? Your development is also linked to where you live. Your development is linked to your socioeconomic status. Your vulnerability is linked to your economic conditions. Okay, so this is what we mean by this question. Question क्या कहना चाह रहा है कि that we must talk about microzonation. So even if Delhi comes on the macro zone or meso zone of 4 or 5, but within Delhi there can be variations. Within Delhi, because of local factors, local soil, local topography, even the economic conditions of the people, that can make a region earthquake vulnerable. So this is one of the core philosophies of Sendai, okay, conference also, that we must include the vulnerabilities, we must reduce the losses, we must include government interventions in areas jahan par the local factors are not ignored. Did you all understand this concept, all of you? Is it okay? Why do we need microzonation in earthquake hazard management? So you must go back and relook at this. Okay, we हम बनाना चाह रहे थे that if I take up local, और ये answer best होगा if you can take up some case study and then discuss. Okay, so your vulnerability depends on the within the urban areas there are spatial factors. Okay, so question number 3B, I am leaving it. Drought management, not only a climatic thing, it's also a product of type of crops, depends on water availability, it depends on irrigation systems, it depends on post drought conditions management. Yeah, so ये आप कर लेंगे. Okay, climatic variability altering both quantity and seasonality of surface water availability. So ये water वाला angle मैंने पढ़ा दिया I think one of the sessions में. Okay, how water availability, okay, is impacted by climate. So you can talk in terms of rainfall, you can talk about rivers, and please take the discussion towards governance also. Water crisis is a function of governance. A water problem is not simply a problem of hydrology. ये पढ़ाया था मैंने आपको. Okay, we have got good discussions. Yes, water adaptation. You talk in terms of socio-cultural factors, the role of communities. Talk about the role of integrated management. Please look up the last class, Pani Panchayat. But remember the geographical thought dimension that we discussed through. The tragedy of the commons, yes. So, आपको यहाँ बताना ये है, okay, the question is, climatic variability, okay, is altering both quantity and seasonality of surface water availability. But your answer will be, take it towards, the problems are beyond climate. The problems are not just about climate, they are beyond climate. You must discuss on those lines. Fine? Is that okay? Right, let's move on. ये आप करेंगे, you have discussed it. Now, ये question जो है, soil organic carbon depletion acts as both a cause and a consequence of land degradation. Soil organic carbon depletion acts as both a cause and a consequence of land degradation. So watch here. When we say soil organic, okay, carbon, soil organic carbon, ये है क्या? This includes living things like microbes, like insects, like animals. We also have plants which grow inside the soils. These are the soil organic carbon. And we also have non-living things. Non-living things में humus आएगा, organic waste आएगा. It also includes decaying matter. Okay, which is part of soil organic compounds. अच्छा, ये soil organic compounds का क्या role है? What is the role of soil organic compounds? The role is it increases the stickiness of soils. जो living है, they help in aeration. They help in mixing of soils. They provide carbon dioxide and also oxygen in the soils. They also are responsible for nitrogen fixation in the soils. Okay. They also are responsible for increasing water retention. They also increase fertility of the soils because they help in accumulation of cations. Okay, the soil organic, okay, carbon जो है, it increases stickiness, make the soil sticky. Sticky soil is less erodible. Okay, the animals will mix the soil. The animals will provide air inside the soil. Lot of life forms are responsible for nitrogen fixation. Okay, plus they also increase water retention. The sticky soil hoga, carbon content hoga, it will hold more water. Okay, if it has carbon content, it also has more cations. because they attract more of magnesium, calcium, and so on. That's why I'm saying that the soil organic compound जो है, it ultimately is part of rich soils. ठीक है? I hope you understood what I mean by this now. ये एक पैराग्राफ है. What are soil organic? So if you look up the technical details, बहुत ज़्यादा है. Okay? You don't have to bother about that. Tell me in terms of simple. Soil में जो organic content होता है, जो organic carbon होता है, उसका क्या role होता है? Okay. Now the question asks us कि जो depletion है, depletion is the cause of soil degradation and also the consequence of soil degradation. Okay, so fundamentally what I'm saying is that depletion of soil organic carbons, okay, this causes land degradation plus land degradation also results in depletion. So it's both a cause and effect and a consequence. Depletion of SOC can cause land degradation, and land degradation can also cause depletion of soil organic carbon. So अगर land degrade क्या मतलब क्या है? If land degrades as in there is less forests, land degrade is top soil loss, land degrade, okay, as in there is soil acidification, there is increase in soil salinity. तो ये जब होता है, इसके वजह से the soil carbon will reduce. It also includes excessive tillage. देखो this आपके आंसर का ना ये जो format is the most important step. If you have got the format right, आपका answer right हो जाएगा. You need to get this format right. कि how does ये जो idea कि land degradation is responsible for soil organic, okay, carbon. If forests are lost, organic content is lost. If topsoil is lost, organic content is lost. If soil becomes acidic, life forms will die and the bacterial content reduce. If soil has high salinity, again, loss of lives or carbon content hoga. Excessive tillage, if you over cultivate whatever reason, say, think of monoculture. Monoculture, maybe you'll have loss of, okay, and think of activities like stubble burning. This also can cause this one. अच्छा, उसके बाद हम कह रहे हैं कि if soil carbon loss होता है, how is land degraded? Because of this, land becomes dry. Because of this, there is less percolation. Because of this, there will be less cations. Because of depletion, you again will have loss of fine clay content. Because of the depletion, we'll also have higher chance of leaching. Water will move very, very fast. Leaching will be higher. आपको ये content समझ में आ गया, right? I hope no problem with the content, all of you. Content समझ में आया? Now, can you give me a regional perspective? Give me a regional perspective of how there is loss of soil organic carbon. Because this is a very important chart. And maybe even if this question is not asked, I'll suggest be ready for these kind of questions. So if they have a question on soil erosion. Okay, तो आप ये content आराम से लिख सकते हो. If you have a question on land degradation, add a paragraph on how land degradation is because of soil loss of soil organic carbons. तो ये use कर सकते हो. Now give me a regional perspective. Okay, which areas will have low soil carbon? So one is arid regions, western northern plains, okay, mountainous regions as heights, all the areas which has stubble burning, okay, जो green revolution belt है वहां का भी problem होगा. All the areas which has bad land topography, all the areas which have, okay, very high coarse texture soil, जहां पर clay content is less. ये regional map है. All the arid regions and northern and western northern plains, Rajasthan, okay, you can put it there, Kutch region. Mountainous regions, elevation के वजह से you'll have less of soil organic compounds. जहां पर stubble burning हो रहा है या फिर green revolution हो रहा है, monoculture हो रहा है. All the areas of badland topography, Chambal Ghat and the rest. And the regions of clay content, जहां पर भी low clay content है, red soil. Can you draw a regional map on this now? So these areas become the vulnerable areas. No, if you're joining, I'm answering the question on YouTube, laptop pre. If you're joining a course, then do not study beyond the class to begin with. आप class पे focus करो. Yes, Venkatesh, Karan Baker's, Syndigo's model, Vohra's model. We have talked about David Harvey's approach to water management. Okay, you please use all of that. Yeah, acid rain influx, yes. I hope this question is understood now. What I mean by a regions approach. A regions approach is a very powerful way of developing an answer. ठीक है? Okay. Let's try another question. Discuss the emerging challenges to traditional climatic regionalization in the context of climate change and extreme weather events. Okay, basically, we have a traditional climatic classification. We have traditional climatic classification. We have of Köppen. We also have that of Trevarta. And what we're saying is that this traditional climate classification now is challenged because of the recent global warming and climate change. Okay, the emerging challenges in the traditional climatic regionalization in the context of climate change and extreme weather events. Okay, how the traditional classification is now threatened because of climate change. Okay, आपको अगर थोड़ा बहुत याद है, I'm drawing a very crude diagram. You have to know the climatic classification of India. अगर नहीं है याद तो look up your books or notes or whatever. Okay, so we have something like this. We have this. Okay, we also have this region here. We have one climate belt here. We have one climate belt here. We have something here. So this is a CWG. If you're going by Köppen's classification, this is AW, this is BS, this is BSH, this is BW, climate classification mein, this part above comes under DFC, this also is DFC, this is AM, this is AW. I'm taking up Copen scheme. Copen scheme. ठीक है? Copen scheme, I'm talking about that now. I've answered you now. Laptop pre. If you're joining the course, then you do not need to study much on your own right now. But eventually, yes, eventually, GS does require specialized studies. Okay. Now, because of climate change, can you tell me what all areas are changing? One change is the Himalayas are becoming warmer. Warmer, so it is not D-type much. The CW is changing. C is, okay, the temperate regions, it again is becoming warmer. Okay. AM जो monsoon है, this is getting wetter. Okay. The steppes region, this is also becoming drier. And AW जो region है, is also becoming hotter and is becoming drier. The BS regions is becoming more and more drier. Again, this AW wala part is also becoming wetter. I'm listing down in the Copen's map which parts are changing. Some areas are becoming wetter, some areas are becoming drier, some areas are becoming hotter. Okay. So, उससे क्या हो रहा है? So, ये एक problem ये है. So, if you look at this, okay. Where is my, एक minute. Just a minute. So, if I'm looking at this map, okay, what are the changes in India's climatic regions because of climate change and extreme weather? It's a very interesting question. अगर आप इस समझ में आएगा ना, ये बड़ा मजा आएगा लिखने में आपको. What are the changes in India's climatic regionalization because of climate change and because of extreme weather? Change number one, the East and West Himalayas, okay, they no longer can be classified under DFC because they are now warmer. They'll come under C type. Or maybe they come under DFA. A is warmer, C is cooler. That's one. Number two, northern plains cannot come under CWG. Again, C is temperate. It is becoming warmer. The average temperature is exceeding. अगर देखोगे summer के extreme उठा लेते हो, they are becoming much, much warmer. Okay. Number three, okay, the boundary between Ganga and savanna and deserts are changing. What I mean is this, ये गंगा वाला पार्ट है, ये सवाना वाला पार्ट है. गंगा एंड सवाना का ये बॉर्डर चेंज हो रहा है, सवाना एंड डेजर्ट का ये बॉर्डर चेंज हो रहा है. Number four, okay, the west coast, which is under AM, is now becoming wetter. Okay, so maybe they must come under A. Okay, AF. AF is more rainfall throughout the year types. Okay, heavy rains and heavy floods. So the traditional AM get question. Okay, similarly, जो plateau interiors में BSH है, this also is now getting drier, more of desertification. And in this climate types में, 4 things not considered. Heat wave, not considered. Increase in tropical cyclones, not considered. And cloud bursts, not considered. So we need a new classification to include these aspects also. समझ में आ रहा है answer, all of you? This is a very, very applied answer. It depends on your understanding of the climatic classification. How the climatic classification, which was traditional, is probably less applicable today. इतना ही काफी है, बहुत ज्यादा है. कौन कौन से बाउंड्री चेंज हो जाएगा, कौन कौन सा बाउंड्री को मॉडिफाई करना पड़ेगा, and what elements we have to add. Did you all note down these pointers? The West and the Eastern Himalayas are no longer DFC type. The Northern Plains can't come under CWG. Not accounted, Piyush, not accounted are heat waves. Heat waves. Not accounted are increased frequency of tropical cyclones. And not accounted are cloud bursts. Now, वो तो cause है ना. If I add El Nino, La Nina, they become the cause. I'm not talking about a genetic classification. I'm अभी भी empirical based on what we observe. Okay, मुझे cause वाला नहीं चाहिए. मुझे बताओ कैसे climatic elements change हो रहे हैं. You can always add a paragraph कि climate change includes the disruptions because of El Nino, La Nina. वो वैसे भी मॉडल में नहीं है. ठीक है. But empirically, this map will change. Okay, Venkatesh, I hope you also understood this question. Okay, the last one. ये डिस्कस भी पहले किया था. The geohydrological characteristics of an area, they influence the nature and intensity of environmental hazard. Okay. How does the geohydrological characteristics impact hazard vulnerability? Okay. The geohydrological characteristics of an area influence the nature and the intensity of the hazards. Okay, so how does the geohydrological characteristics affect or impact hazard vulnerability? So when I say this means what? Okay. Soil porosity. It means slope steepness. It means the slope and the rock types. Are they soft rocks? Are they erodible rocks? Are they hard and resistant rocks? Okay. It means the nature and presence of groundwater. It implies local drainage, channels, and flow systems. This is what I mean by the geohydrological characteristics. Okay, so earthquakes depends on, okay, earthquakes and landslides depends on erodibility of the slopes. This is a function of, okay, moisture in the soils. It is also a function of local channels. Floods, they depend on porosity and permeability of the rocks. Floods also depends on erodibility of channel banks. GLOF, this is entirely because of geohydrology. Droughts, this depends on groundwater. Avalanche, this also depends on, okay, the rains, the snow accumulation, and the slope steepness. But the answer, all of you? Asking us, tell us how, okay, the geohydrological characteristics impact hazard vulnerability. So ये सारे जो हैं landslides and earthquakes, they depend on erodibility of the slopes. If the slope has more moisture, if there are local channels, okay, we can have faster earthquakes. If the slopes are more mobile, softer rocks, we can have more landslides. Floods, if the water can percolate down, okay, the floods are less. Okay, so basically this decides percolation of water. Even this decides, okay, say the slopes ka angle. This also decides percolation of water. GLOF is entirely about geohydrology, the nature of moraines, the melting of glaciers. It depends on the steepness of the slopes. It depends on the pathways of glacial flow channels. ये पूरा geohydrology ही है. Droughts depends on groundwater. It depends on the presence or absence of aquifers. Avalanche again depends on snow accumulation and slope steepness. ये भी geohydrological. So based on this, you can make a map. The regional vulnerability of India to earthquakes because of geohydrological properties. You can make a map of India. The regional, disaster vulnerability of India. The regional disaster vulnerability of India because of geohydrological properties or geological factors. So you can talk about this. Soft soils, moisture. This is vulnerable to solifluction. Rivers and steep slopes. This is vulnerable to landslides. This is also a river, rains, and steep slopes. This is also vulnerable to landslides. Okay. We can talk about Punjab region. So this area has poor percolation plus dry conditions. This is vulnerable to water problems. Vulnerable to water. The plateau regions, this is hard rocks, poor aquifers, and less rains. This is vulnerable to droughts. Can you all make maps of these kinds, all of you? Okay, you can talk about Western Ghats. Western Ghats, okay, so rains and mining makes it vulnerable to landslides. That's about it. There's the regional vulnerability of India to earthquakes, landslides, and whatever. Okay, because of geohydrological properties. आपके मैप में ना एक ऐसा डायग्राम चाहिए ही चाहिए. And take up any one case study. So floods of vulnerability of Bangalore. Okay, so heavy rains. Then we have lakes encroachment. There is poor percolation, and there is poor water channel passages. Okay, so you look at these things: high rains, the lakes have been encroached, there's poor percolation, rocks are hard, there's poor water passage because of construction. ये सारा क्या है? This is nothing but geohydrological factors. Make sense, all of you? Does this make sense? I take up a case study, floods of Bangalore or floods of Chennai, and how heavy rains, lakes are encroached, poor percolation because hard rocks and granitic rocks हैं, and there's also poor channel passages because construction has disturbed the local passages. So we have very high flood vulnerability because of geohydrological factors. Make sense, all of you? How to discuss these questions? Okay then. So I've discussed most of the questions. I hope you sit down and look these up. But today, because next test onwards, I want your test to get over earlier. ये जो आप लास्ट में देते हो दिन के, I do not know why. Okay, finish off the test in the first half. Okay, if you start the test morning 9 बजे खत्म करते हो, okay, 9 से 12 and then 1 से 3 तक खत्म करो, so that you have time for the discussions, improvement. You can talk about addition of matter maybe, because you have to start the next day. Okay, today also I'll keep the polity session live for all of you. Okay, take half an hour of break. 7 baje you have the session where Soumya sir will discuss the polity for tomorrow. I know all of you have not joined our MSP course for GS, but it's a nice writing practice we're having almost thrice a week. Okay, so we'll go live on YouTube also. You can watch that, please. Okay, 7:30 में है session. Sorry, 7 o'clock session है. ठीक है, so GS also happening alongside parallelly. Chalo then, bye-bye all of you. Take care. The coming week, geography optional has geographical thought. Okay, make sure that you attend those. Geographical thought hai, models and theories hai, and we also have some discussions on regional planning. Okay. Yeah, YouTube guys, you all are welcome to join the MSP program. Some of these will remain live maybe for a couple of more days. Okay, fine. Narendra, MSP is always better if you join it live. Okay, 25 karna chaho to kar lo, but 26 we are doing a very different thing. We are doing live answer writing, okay, along with the questions. Okay, you can, Narendra. Okay, you can, but some of the questions have changed, so your call. Okay then, bye-bye all of you. Take care. All of you join back on the YouTube at 7 o'clock.